Hare Krishna. So last time we started our discussion on this Anartha Nivriti. So as I told before also, most difficult stage and most time-taking stage is this Anartha Nivriti. And for most people, um, this is the stage where they may take U-turn. This is the stage where they may not be able to sustain their determination to continue their spiritual life. That's why our acharyas very beautifully they explain so that we have a clear understanding about this process of devotional service. So because of so much association with lower modes from so many lives, there is a very strong and deep influence of the anarthas in our consciousness. So it is not very easy to be free from these anarthas in a very short time. It takes a lot of hard efforts. It takes a lot of mercy of the Supreme Lord. Then only slowly, gradually, these anarthas will go. And especially in the environment which we stay today, the whole environment is so much surcharged with things which are encouraging these anarthas, things which are related more with sense gratification. Then naturally in such an environment it becomes much more difficult. Bhakti Padma Maharaj in our Bhakti Yoga class was telling that one lady, she was asked, what do you feel about Ravana? And then the lady says, I don't think Ravana was sinful. He was just a naughty boy. So actually environment has become such, they want to bring down sin to a normal life. Uh, uh, Living relationship is normal. All smoking, drinking is normal. Eating meat is normal. So practically all for regular principles which are told in the scriptures that they should not be broken, they are pillars of sinful life. They are brought down to a level where they are seen as normal. Even gambling advertisements are coming about gambling. Gambling also is not seen as a bad activity. Many states government encourages gambling. In many states government only is running gambling things. So we see in such an environment where the sin is seen as normal, where the regulatory principles breaking is not seen as something bad, then it becomes all the more difficult to protect ourselves from all this. So that's why Acharyas they explain that was Sukritana and Duskritana. They both becomes obstacle in a spiritual life. Now, as we discussed that Duskritana becomes obstacle because we get misery. Duskritana becomes obstacle because they drive us to sinful life. And Sukritana becomes obstacle because so many material desires they come. So many opulences they come, so many desires to enjoy they come. So now, in general, we hear Bhagavad Gita talks about that everything in the material world is dukhalyam asasvatam. Everything in the material world gives misery and is temporary in nature. But then still we see it appears that by Sukritano we get enjoyment and by Duskritano we get suffering. Or we get a feeling that, oh, if I do a piety, then I'll go to heaven, then I can enjoy. If I do impiety, then I'll go to hell and I'll suffer. But then how this sloka Bhagavad Gita will hold true for all the people in all the planets? So we had asked this question to His Holiness Bhakti Padma Maharaj. Maharaj was telling, the people in the hell, they suffer their suffering. The people in the heaven, they enjoy their suffering. This is the only difference. He was telling the Sukrutana, the happiness of sense gratification is what? People they enjoy their suffering. And whereas Dukha in the hell is what? People suffer their suffering. So this is the only difference. He was telling this also. Brahmachari means they suffer their suffering. Grasta means they enjoy their suffering. So actually it is the Khalyam Asaswatam like that. But it is seen in a different way, like this, which is a fact. Like we'll find a small child, he may pass a stool and urine in the lap of a father, actually it is suffering. But then for him, is it a suffering? No. He will enjoy, although it may be a very bad smelling stool, but he will enjoy. So they enjoy their suffering like that. So then Sukruduttha and Duskruduttha. So Sukruduttha becomes obstacle because of we have a deep desire to enjoy, and because of our fight in the past, we get resources to enjoy. Even in devotional life. In devotional life, you see, because of Sukruduttha, you may get name, you may get fame, you may get some Sakti, Vak Sakti, you may get some Kala, you may be good in playing Mridanga, you may be good in singing, you may be good in talking to people. So, because of this, what happens? We may become distracted from pure devotional service. We may identify our material success as our spiritual growth. Srila Jiva Goswami says this is one pitfall in the path of devotional service. That sometimes the success which one gets in the process of devotional service, one may mistake that as his spiritual advancement, which may not be true. So in that way, Sukritutta, it distracts a person. And also, Sukritutta may make a person proud because he may feel that, see, how successful I am. See, so many things I am able to do. So Sukritutta may make a person proud. And in that sense also, he cannot helplessly call out the holy names of the Lord. In that sense also, he cannot chant the holy names of the Lord. And Duskritutta is like too much desire for sinful propensities. Time and again, he falls back and watches some dirty videos. Time and again, he has some problem with some of his anarthas. So that is Duskritutta. Anartha is anarthas, they drag him down. He has a lot of greed, he has a lot of envy, he has a lot of anger, he has a lot of pride. They are Duskritutta. Even when our kundli and all things are made. So in that also you will say he will have prominent anger issues. Because of Duskritutta, people have that. Some people have anger related issues. On short things they become very angry. Some people are very oversensitive to criticism. The moment you give them a feedback, Prabhu, why you spoke like that, you should have spoken like that, but then they can't take up because of they are very oversensitive to criticism. Or some are emotionally very intense. One criticism happens to them, they take it very intensely emotionally. So always their mind is on that thought only. Why he spoke like that? Why he spoke like that? What does he think about himself? How dare he spoke like that? I will not leave him. Krishna, you also not leave him. Why? Because he is emotionally very intense. So that's why he gets, or he takes it very personally. In Kaliga, you'll find in most cases it happens that people are oversensitive and they take it personally that, ये मेरे लिए बोला गया है and he wanted to pull me down, something like that. So this is Duskritutta. Like uh, His Grace Sundar Prabhu was telling in one lecture that we are not doing devotional bhakti, we are doing emotional bhakti. So he was telling why? Because most of the time our thoughts are centered around I. And most of the time our thoughts are very emotional. He spoke like that, he spoke like that, he did like that, he did not did like that. If I get this, then how it will be. If I don't get this, then how it will be. So if you actually see our chanting, most of the time thoughts are centered around either Sukritutta or Duskritutta. Either we want Dukha Nivaran or we want Sukha. So in one Sandarbha, Jiva Goswami defines what is Dukha. Jiva Goswami says Dukha means something which you want to get rid of. That is Dukha. Something which you don't want and you want to get rid of. That is defined technically as Dukha. And you will find when we chant, always our thoughts will be in this direction that we want it to go away from our life. This is one category. Second is we want something in our life. We want some resource, some facility, some success, some material opulence. And always our japa is interesting. Or we may want somebody to respect us, or somebody to value our existence, and we may want to avoid or do something about those people who are criticizing or disrespecting. So like that, our chanting mainly goes on these two things: Sukrututta and Duskritutta, Sukrututta and Duskritutta, like this. And that's why we see time and again the scriptures, the principle is too much highlighted that everything in the material world is temporary. So one good news about everything in the material world is that it is temporary. Whether you are happy today or you are miserable today, good thing about both of them is both will go away after some time. So why the temporary aspect is so much highlighted? So that we don't take them too seriously. If we take material phenomena, if we take duality of the material world very seriously, then we can't take our goal of eternal life seriously. If we get too affected by the temporary duality of this material world. On the other hand, when we understand the temporary aspect of the duality of the material world, then we can focus on the eternal aspect of our true nature. It is very difficult time and again, and it is the nature of the mind to not give up this, to become attached to the temporary duality of this material world, and forgets to see that how the time is passing. Soon I have to die. Just imagine, after some time when your death has come. So at time of death, suddenly what will come in your consciousness? Especially if you remain a devotee till then. And mostly what will come in our consciousness is, oh Krishna, I wasted my time. I could have chanted more. I could have read more. I could have become more Krishna conscious, but I ran behind so many things and now I have to leave. At time of death, you can see everything going away. Nothing will come with us. And that time you will lament Krishna and then Yamdutas will come. Yesterday I asked Maharaj, those devotees who are not able to perfect life and go back to Godhead. So for them, who comes? Yamdutas come or something else happens? Maharaj says that only for those who go back to Godhead, Vishnu Dutas come, and for all other, even devotees, Yamdutas come. Their department only is there to take care. But obviously, they'll not go to hell. They'll be taken to Yamaraj, and then Yamaraj will send them to heaven or another birth in the earth planet also. But point is, at that time, how you will feel. So that is the nature of the Sukrita and Duskruta. Somehow or other, not allow us to focus on spiritual value. So one thing which the Shastra talks about is that don't take them too seriously. Second thing Shastra talks about them is don't be too much focused on these two things, Sukrututta and Duskruta. If you're too much focused in accommodating, then when you have to leave these things, you become too disturbed. Like whenever the Sade Sati comes, Sade Sati is the Disa of Sunny. So in that what happens is you lose many things, like financially, relationship wise, resources wise. So now which person gets more affected during that period? Who accumulated more. But if you accumulated less, then you don't feel unhappy so much. Right. About Dhruv Maharaj also, the Lord Vishnu awards him, and he says, you can exhaust your piety by enjoying, and you will exhaust your bad karma by austerities. That means voluntarily, if you live a life of positive austerity, which will help you to advance in spiritual life, living a simple life for living a spiritual life. So naturally, you grow in a spiritual life, and your bad karma also goes away because voluntarily you are taking up that. And you don't get too affected. Why? Because you are not too much accommodating. Just imagine, suppose you have you got a big car now. Suppose you purchase Audi, then you got Mercedes, then you got five-star kind of a house to stay in, and suddenly the situation changes, and then you have to sell everything, and you have to purchase a mediocre house and a small car. You see, a person is not able to sleep also because so much he gets affected. Now we are hearing many stories where many employees in US, they are laid off, Indian employees, and then naturally they have to come back to India. Now they were earning in big amounts in US, but when they come to India, it's so struggle for them to earn the same amount. So naturally they are earning very less, and they became so used to the situation in US that now they are becoming very frustrated being in India because so much traffic is there and so many other challenges they are there. So now their existence has become so much disturbance. Why? Because they became attached to certain situation. So Vedic time or Vedic teachings are very special. You see things like Bharat Maharaj, what not they were having. But before giving them the opulence and all, they were trained in the simple life in Gurukul. So because their training was like that, they, even though were exposed to opulence, they will not become attached to that opulence. They were able to remember the temporariness of this opulence. And that's the reason as a Vanaprastha, can you imagine as a Vanaprastha, somebody who has everything and within a moment he is leaving everything and going. Means he was never attached, then only it is possible, otherwise how it is possible? Is it not? So Vedic teachings were like that. Live a simple life. When Lord Ram was told you have to go to forest, he immediately remembered that my Guru taught me to live in forest. He was not affected. Otherwise, just imagine if even we are told that now go, leave everything and go to forest. How much we get affected? So Lord also comes and teaches by his example that duality cannot stop in the material world. And if you take them too seriously, and if you are not careful about it, then what will happen is you will be very miserable. But then if we are very careful and if we are trying to live a simple life, we are performing some austerities to what happened? We are performing some austerities for our spiritual advancement. Then what happens? Our bad karma also goes, and whatever the fluctuation happens because of the duality, they don't too much affect us. So many times in ISKCON also you find some devotees they become attached to AC, and when they are in a situation when AC is not there, then they become very miserable like that. So I generally tell one principle to devotees that what Srila Prabhupada wanted is when we say Yukta Vairagya, so anasaktasya vishya, that you should be unattached to the Vishayas and you can accept them for the service of the Lord. So we should not become attached to AC and we should not become attached to not being AC also. Whatever situation is important or is required for serving Krishna, we can accept that, but without becoming attached. अगर आपको सर्दी ज्यादा लगता है एसी में, ठीक है, अपना उत्तरी जो है लगा के बैठ जाओ। अगर कुछ भागवतम क्लास एसी हॉल में हो रहा है या कोई मीटिंग है और आपको नॉन एसी रूम में लेके गए हैं जहां पर आपको गर्मी लगता है, ठीक है, पंखे के नीचे बैठ जाओ, इतना कर सकते हैं बस। बट इफ यू बिकम अटैच्ड, then we suffer whether we have AC or we don't have AC. So the Vedic teachings are, it's not about having AC or not having AC. You have to be detached from both. You should not become attached to a situation where you have AC and you should not become attached to a situation where you don't have AC. You have to become detached from both. And our attachment has to be increased for Krishna. Because that is the only thing which will be there with us. That is the only thing which can help us to be happy in the material world. If not, we see how difficult it becomes. Even for devotees, sometimes they have a high-paying job, and because of some situation, they somehow are uh, asked to leave the job. And then later on, now they can't take up a low-paying job, and then they are not getting a high-paying job, and life becomes so miserable for them. Life becomes very miserable for them. And then they suffer. Naturally, in such situation, how they can chant holy names of the Lord? Naturally, in such situation, how they can practice spirituality? Very difficult. So that's why Shastra So much talks about the Sukrututha, the Skrututha, especially for devotees. Shastras are not against opulence, but Shastras are against our attachment to the opulence. Why? Because they know that these opulences can't remain with us. They know that life is not made for enjoying these opulences. Life is made for transcending the duality of this material world. So if you become attached, then there is a problem. That's when the Vedic culture first system was that you train yourself in a simple life. You train yourself to live simply. And then whatever opulence you get, don't keep it with you. Try to engage that in service of the Lord so that you don't become attached to it. You understand that this is Krishna's property. Let me give in the service of the Lord. So when we have this consciousness, then we don't suffer. You see, Tukaram Maharaj, when he was asked that you have to give your house because you could not protect the crops, and now in exchange, we will take your house. And that day, the wife of Tukaram Maharaj, thinking the house is unclean, she cleaned thoroughly, very nicely. When Tukaram Maharaj comes home and he finds house so clean, and wife is anticipating, expecting that Tukaram Maharaj will glorify that, Arey, you have cleaned the house so nicely. And then Tukaram Maharaj was not speaking anything. And then the wife says, क्या हुआ अपना घर कैसा लग रहा है and then Tukaram Maharaj says, अपना so then the wife says, अपना नहीं तो और किसका अपना ही तो है then Tukaram Maharaj says कि Vitthal gave us this house and now Vitthal has taken this house. So see what consciousness he is. Can you imagine आप छोटे से कुटिया में रहते हो वो कुटिया भी जो है चली जाए आप तो एकदम आग बबूला हो जाएंगे आप तो करेक्ट लेकिन उनका चेतना क्या था विठल गेव एंड विठल टुक इट एंड दैट इज अ फैक्ट कृष्णा गिव्स कृष्णा टेक्स in both situation we have to know it is Krishna's mercy like that. And then third anartha is aparadutha anartha. So last time we discussed that one description is given by Srila Thakur, that is Sukrututta, Duskritutta, Aparadutta, and then last one is Bhaktiutta. And another description given by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, where he says Tattva Brahma, Asat Krishna, then Tarangarangani, name Asat Krishna, Hriday Daurvalyam, Tattva Brahma, and Aparadutta. So we compared that in one way both descriptions are same. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur also says Aparadutta Anartha, and Vishwanath Thakur also says Aparadutta Anartha. So now this Anartha, Aparadutta Anartha, this Anartha is most serious Anartha among all other Anarthas. Like Sukrututta and Duskrututta, they can easily go. But Aparadutta is most difficult to go. This is the most serious Anartha which we have. So that's why Shastras you will find they give a lot of importance on this Anartha. From the time we have come to devotional service, mainly we hear about two things. One thing is we have to chant the holy names of the Lord, and second thing is we have to avoid offenses. Why? See, Sukrututta and Duskrututta, they disturb us at material level. But Aparadutta Anartha, they disturb us at spiritual level. Whatever ruchi we have developed for Krishna, whatever ruchi we have for chanting holy names of the Lord, that goes away because of our offenses. And then it becomes difficult. Like suppose somebody is going on a highway. So one is when he's going on a highway, the road may have barriers, or the rains may come. So this is Duskritutanatha. That rain's coming and you're not able to drive your car fast. Or the bumps are coming on the road, so the speed of the car is being checked. This is Duskritutanatha. Duskritutanatha means you want to go above but somebody is pulling you down. That is Duskrituta. So you want to drive fast, but then rain is coming. Now what can be done? You have to be slow. Sukrituta Anartha means you are driving on the highway and then you find a Pav Bhaji stall on the corner. And then we stop. the car. That is Sukrututtanartha. So Duskrituttanartha means you want to go fast, but then they don't allow you to go fast. Sukrututtanartha means they distract you that you yourself go slow or you yourself take a break or stop. That is Sukrututtanartha. Then suppose you are going on highway, another car wala is driving very fast and he is taking over to you and you become very disturbed. I have uh, Innova and this fellow is having Alto. How dare he crossed me? You drive very fast and then in your anger you hit him. फिर क्या होगा आगे चल के पुलिस आपको रोक लेगी. ये है अपराध अनर्थ. ऐसा. तो दुष्कृत अनर्था में आपके दुष्कृत आपको नीचे खींच रहे हैं. सुकृत अनर्था में आप खुद रुक रहे हैं. अपराध अनर्था में हायर पावर्स आपको रोकेंगे. जो लॉर्ड हैं वो आपको रोकेंगे. तुम रुक जाओ, बहुत हो गया तुम्हारा भक्ति, सब परेशान हो गए तुमसे. तुम थोड़ा वैष्णव संघ से दूर जाओ. ऐसा कौन डिसीजन लेंगे? लॉर्ड लेंगे. It is said, those who do अपराध अनर्था, Lord will increase their material desires. And because of that, they have to give up devotional service, or because of that, uh, there will be a halt in their devotional service. That is aparadha. Can you imagine? Lord is so merciful, so kind. He's just waiting and looking for jivas to come back to him. He's making all the arrangements for us. But then the same Lord, because of so much pain in his heart when he sees we committing offenses, especially Vaishnava offenses, then he is left with no other option than to create a situation where we have to go away from him. How much painful it will be for the Lord also, but then he has no other option. So that is Apradhutanartha, where the higher powers they come. Lord himself makes us lose opportunity or taste in the devotional service. We see that how when Garudaji he came and he was eating fishes in the pond in Yamuna river, and then the fishes they went to Sabri, Sabri Rishi, and they told Sabri Rishi that please protect. And Sabri Rishi somehow or other in his pride he forgot that who is Garuda, and he became compassionate kind of to fishes, and he cursed that if Garuda comes here again to take a fish, he will die. Garuda respected, although if he wanted, he could have continued, but then he respected the curse. But it became a great offense. So Yaj Maharaj also, Maharaj, sometimes devotees they ask that how come Garuda is eating fishes? He is having such a long body, just a full personality. Maharaj told him, what problem is there if he is eating fishes? People can eat fish, why Garuda cannot eat? Then Maharaj told, to superimpose morality on spirituality is also another kind of Maya. It's a very deep point Maharaj said. What happens is many times we want to fit Lord also in our window of morality. But Lord is beyond. And then Maharaj made a nice point. Maharaj said, even if Garuda is eating fishes, those fishes are getting liberated. Is it good for them or bad for them? Okay. So what happens? We have some moralistic understanding. Like people may say, oh, because of Krishna, so many people they died on the battlefield. But what happened to those people who died in the battlefield? In case of Krishna, whether he does dharma or adharma, both are his compassion. We cannot superimpose morality on God and his pure devotees. For Krishna, whatever he does is an act of compassion. So all the people who died on the battlefield, those who had while dying, those who had a thought process that, oh Krishna, you are so beautiful, we were so unfortunate to fight against you. They went back to Godhead. Can you imagine? On the other hand, those people who died with hatred in their heart, oh Krishna, because of you, all this thing is happening, they went to Brahma Jyoti. Just imagine, you die on the battlefield and have a thought, Krishna, you are so nice, and you go back to Godhead. What more you want? So in case of Sabri, because he became little proud that I can judge who? Garuda. like that. Many times it happens actually, people they try to judge pure devotees or Krishna on moral background. We cannot judge because they are far beyond and we can't understand. So we cannot judge on the basis of morality. And why we judge? Because of pride. So Sabri Rishi, he could not understand that whom I am judging, whom I am cursing. Who is Garuda? Is a personal carrier of the Lord. अगर आप सोचिए गरुड़ जी कुछ गलत कर रहे होते तो सबसे पहले करेक्ट उनको कौन करता? भगवान ही बोलते हैं कि गरुड़ जी तुम मीट खाते हो, भक्त लोग जो है बेचारे क्या बोलेंगे। वो तो लॉर्ड करेक्ट नहीं कर रहे हैं उनको। लेकिन सौबरी ऋषि थॉट आई कैन जज गरुड़ा, आई कैन करेक्ट गरुड़ा, and because of that offense the very same fishes whom he wanted to protect became cause of his fall down। भगवान भी मतलब ऐसा लेसन देखते हैं ना, बचाना है ना बचा इनको, same fishes became like that। So you see sometimes how our good qualities also become obstacle in the service of the Lord if they are eye centered। We see this Maharaj thought, how I can speak a lie? Like, who is speaking? Krishna is saying speak a lie. And Vishnu is telling how I can speak a lie. Like that. So we can speak lie if Lord is saying. Dharma ultimately boils down to what Krishna wants. Dharma to Sakshat Bhagavad Pranitam. What Krishna says, that is Dharma. If Krishna is telling Arjuna slaughter everyone, then that slaughtering is Dharma. Like that. But if somebody becomes attached to his idea of dharma, then that also becomes a dharma. Like that. First is we are adharmic. Second is we become dharmic. Third is we become attached to our idea of being dharmic. But fourth is not being attached to our idea of dharma and adharma, but to surrender to what Krishna wants. That is Advaita dharma. So because of the physics, same Sabri Rishi fell down, got married to 50 daughters of Mandhata. All his tapobal for so many years he had to use all that tapobal to become beautiful and to create all the opulence to enjoy these 50 daughters of Mandhata. Because of that one offense. Like that. So this aparadutta is very serious because Krishna withdraws his mercy. The moment we start offending devotees of the Lord, Krishna withdraws mercy. And then it will be difficult for us to practice a spiritual life. Sometimes we feel I am able to practice spiritual life, but what we are able to practice is because of mercy of the Lord. Like today I am able to chant, it's because of the mercy of the Lord. And we all have experienced if we have offended some devotees or caused pain to some devotees. So that day holy name does not come out. It is a hard struggle for holy name. Either we sleep or it is a hard struggle. But somehow that if you have pleased the devotees, then you see how holy name comes out. As if holy name itself is coming out. When one reaches to the level of Suddhanam, so at level of Nama Parag and Nama Bhas, you are chanting holy names. At level of Suddhanam, holy name is making you chant. So you can't stop. Even if you want to stop, you can't stop because holy name is making you chant. That is the level of Suddhanam. So when devotees are happy, Krishna's mercy is coming, you will find it will be so easy for you. Otherwise, it is very difficult. So aparadutta anartha, they causes that difficulty in a spiritual life. That's why our acharyas time and again, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that if you want to go back to Godhead, then take one vow in this life that I will not offend a sadhu. इस जन्म में एक और लो कि मैं किसी भी साधु का अपराध नहीं करूंगा अगर आप भगवान के धाम जाना चाहते हैं। जी गोस्वामी क्या बोलते हैं? अटेंटिव चैंटिंग, अटेंटिव डीलिंग will help you to go back to Godhead। ध्यान पूर्वक जप, ध्यान पूर्वक संबंध, इससे आप भगवान के धाम चले जाओगे। ऐसा। And we have to know the art of dealing. How to deal with superiors, how to deal with equals, how to deal with those who are juniors. इसमें जितना अटेंटिव रहेंगे उतना भगवान की क्या होगी, कृपा मिलेगी। ऐसा। तो ये कौन बोलते हैं, जीव गोस्वामी बोलते हैं। महाप्रभु क्या बोलते हैं, इफ यू चैंट एंड डोंट क्रिटिसाइज डिवोटीज आई विल टेक यू बैक टू गॉड। You see, all emphasis is on this, that we have to chant and we can't criticize. But many times we see that we are brought up in a culture, uh, especially in the modern culture, that we find a fault. In our assignments also would be like that. इस पैराग्राफ में कितनी गलतियां हैं निकालो. That is our thought process is that we see fault everywhere like that. But we have to know more than the fault in that person, our seeing fault is a more bigger fault. And because of which it will hamper our spiritual progress. So what happens is when someone takes up to spiritual life, in eyes of Krishna, he becomes very special. Because just imagine from Krishna's point of view, Lord is waiting for him from so many lives. And in this life, he is trying to take up to bhakti. Although he may have a lot of faults. But in eyes of Krishna, he is very special person. And Krishna is very happy with him. कि चलो बाप रे, अब तो ये थोड़ा भक्ति में आया है. और फिर हम जब उसमें फॉल्ट देखते हैं तो भगवान को बहुत बुरा लगता है. क्या रे, he is trying to chant my name. Wait, have faith. I am there. I will take care. Why you are so much behind him? Why you are so much focused on his secondary aspect like that? And then it pains Krishna. Just imagine if because of our finding fault that devotee discouraged in the devotional service, then how much pain it will give to Krishna. कि बाप रे, बड़ी मुश्किल से आए ये नालायक ने भेज दिया. Correct. Like we hear one time when sannyasi some mistake happened, and then Prabhupada wanted to talk to him and encourage him. But then one devotee, what he did, he spreaded that mistake which sannyasi did to all the devotees. And when the sannyasi came, all devotees were talking about the mistake done by him. So he felt so bad. Without meeting Prabhupada, he went. Naturally, who will meet in such a situation? Then Prabhupada called that devotee who spread about him to all. And Prabhupada said, because of you, he lost the opportunity to come and talk to him. And Prabhupada said, this is very bad and Krishna will teach you. After some time, he committed more bigger mistake, same devotee. And then he also had to live the spiritual life. So Jesus makes a very beautiful statement. He says, when we see a fault, either the fault is in us or it will come in us. तो अगर हम फॉल्ट देख रहे हैं तो या तो फॉल्ट हमारे में है, नहीं है तो आ जाएगा. Opposite also is true. When we see good in others, either that good is in us or it will come in us. So one of the very important aspect of cultivating good qualities is to see good qualities in others. If we train ourselves to see good qualities in others, then that good quality will come in us also. And if we don't train, if we see fault, then those faults will come in us. And what happens when we seeing fault, then more than those fault in that person, our consciousness is getting degraded because of the meditation on those faults. So we hear that story how prostitute and a brahmana. Although prostitute was engaged in simple activity, but her meditation was that this Brahmana is so fortunate. Although Brahmana was engaged in Brahminical activities, but his meditation was this prostitute is sin. Can you imagine? Vaikuntha Viman came for the prostitute and Yamdutas came for Brahmana. And when asked, they said, अरे आपका मेडिटेशन यही था. और भगवान क्या देखते हैं, हमारा मन कहाँ लगा हुआ है. बाहर से जप कर रहे हैं लेकिन मन जो है दोषों में लगा हुआ है. तो हम असली में भक्ति नहीं कर रहे हैं, हम भक्ति में जो है आगे नहीं बढ़ रहे हैं. But when we are meditating on good qualities, especially good qualities connected to God, there are two things. One is you see good qualities, then what happens is you become a moral pious person. But when you see good quality connected to God, then that is devotional service. Like suppose somebody is singing and you see how much Krishna has bestowed him. Such a sweet voice Lord has given to him. And he is also so nicely engaging the God given ability in serving him. This thought, this connectivity, this appreciation is devotional service. And it is very pleasing to Krishna. So when we see good in connection with Krishna, then that pleases Krishna. In our Vedic culture, these aspects were taught very nicely. Nowadays, you see one of the major challenge and reason why so many divorces are happening, why so many relationships problems are happening. You'll be surprised. 20,000 husbands were killed by 20,000 wives. 20,000 cases have happened in India. Can you imagine 20,000 wives killing 20,000 husbands? Why so much problem is happening? Because everyone is seeing fault in others. If you ask a wife what you think about your husband, she will tell, he has this problem, this problem, this problem, this problem. If you ask husband, same thing he will tell about wife. And because of that, there are divorces and so many other things. But you see our Vedic culture, it was always based on appreciation. How many of you have seen your mother appreciating good qualities of your father? And how many of us have seen our father talking good qualities of our mother? Of course, in some of your case, it may not be because modern touch is there. Otherwise, I have seen my mother always spoke good qualities of father. And what to say, if you go more back, then it was much more. Because that culture was, wife was having so much respect for husband, she will not take name also. Now also my mother never takes name of my father. That was the, training given in the Vedic time. And because of seeing good qualities, and second training was respect. Generally, why offenses happen? Lack of respect. Offenses and respect are very closely connected. And second thing in Vedic time, the training was given was to respect everyone. Vedic followers, they will not become unhappy if you fail in the exam, they will not become unhappy if you don't get a job, but they will become unhappy if you don't show respect to deserving people. I remember once I had we would stay in Pathankot, Punjab. And whenever we get a summer vacation, that time we would visit our village. So I, along with my parents, went there. And then we were in the village, and some older person came to our house. So I was not knowing, and I was just sitting. And then my mother told, अरे बाबा है हमको चरण स्पर्श नहीं किया तुमने. मैं बोला मेरे को पता नहीं कौन बाबा है. फिर उन्होंने बताया नहीं तुम्हारे बाबा लगते हैं चरण स्पर्श करो. So she would make sure that I pay respect. Another time I know that my grandmother, she left. So she was very close to me because I am eldest son in my family. My father are four brothers and my father is eldest. So I was the eldest son born. She gave a lot of time, lot of love. So when she left her body, my father called me and he informed me. So I became very unhappy. I was in Kota at that time. So I wanted to cry, but tears were not coming. I was thinking, क्या ungrateful heart है, इतना दादी ने किया, रोना भी नहीं आ रहा है. फिर मैंने लाइट वाइट बंद कर दिया, रूम में रहता था उस टाइम पे. फिर मैंने बहुत प्रयास किया, फिर उनकी क्वालिटीज याद की तो रोना आया. फिर मैं रोया, फिर मैंने सोचा भी घर जाना है, लेकिन कैसे जाऊंगा. First time, somebody has left in our house and I don't know how things happen. So there was one my friend from Bihar in Kota. So I went to him and I asked कि ऐसा सब हुआ कि मुझे घर जाना है तो क्या करना है. तो उन्होंने मुझसे पूछा कि आप रेगुलर जब घर जाते थे तो कैसे जाते थे. तो मैं बताया मैं घर जाता था और पता नहीं हमारे घर में क्या है, मम्मी का ऐसा थॉट प्रोसेस है कि ये तुम्हारे चाचा लगते, फूफा लगते, बुआ लगते, तो सबका मैं ऐसे ऐसे रोड से चालू हो जाता था प्रणाम करना. तो मेरा दोस्त क्या बोला, देखो इस बार बहुत सीरियस मैटर है, तुम्हारी दादी का देहांत हुआ है तो किसी को भी प्रणाम नहीं करना है. बोला ठीक है. फिर उसने बोला और क्या करते थे. मैं बस फिर घर जाते थे, खाना वाना खाते थे, मम्मी अच्छा अच्छा बनाती थी. बोले देखो बहुत सीरियस मैटर है, दादी का डेथ हुआ है, तो कुछ मांगना नहीं है खाने के लिए, कुछ देंगे तो खाना, वरना कोई नहीं. ऐसा फास्टिंग भी कर सकता है. बोला ठीक. जब मैं गांव में प्रवेश किया तो बहुत सारे रिश्तेदार आए हुए थे। मैं ना लेफ्ट देखा ना राइट देखा, नीचे देख के चुपचाप आ रहा था। और मेरी मदर जो है वो हाउस के गेट पे खड़ी थी, मुझे देख रही थी कि मैं आ रहा हूँ। एंड शी सॉ दैट आई एम नॉट गोइंग डाउन टू एनी ऑफ द एल्डर्स हु आर स्टेइंग आउट। तो सब घर के बाहर जो है अलग अलग जगह बैठे हुए थे। तो जब मैं दरवाजे के पास पहुंचा घर के, तो मैंने चरण देखे तो मैं समझ गया मम्मी है मेरी। मैंने ऊपर देखा, मदर ने जैसे ही देखा एक थप्पड़ मारा थाड़। मैं बोला अभी क्या हो गया, मैं तो आया इतना दूर से। मदर टोld तुम्हारे बाबा बैठे, ताऊ बैठे, पापा बैठे, ये बैठे, वो बैठे, ये बैठे हैं, तुमने किसी को प्रणाम नहीं किया। तो मैंने यू टर्न मारा, एंड में गया, फिर सबको प्रणाम करके आया। तब मैं डिवोटी नहीं था, तो मुझे इतना बुरा लगा, मेरी मम्मी कितनी ऑर्थोडॉक्स है, कितनी पागल है। लेकिन आफ्टरवर्ड्स आई अंडरस्टूड दैट दिस इज अवर वैदिक कल्चर। अब देखेंगे वैदिक कल्चर में कितना रिस्पेक्ट का ट्रेन किया जाता है। अभी भी आप गांव में जाएंगे तो गांव में जो औरतें हैं उनको कितना ट्रेन किया जाता है, आप रिस्पेक्ट कीजिए। छोटे बच्चे उनको कितना ट्रेन किया जाता है, आप रिस्पेक्ट कीजिए। माता पिता सिखाते थे, चलो इनको वो पैर छुओ इनके, ये तुम्हारे ये लगते हैं, तुम्हारे वो लगते हैं। लेकिन अभी मॉडर्न कल्चर में खत्म हो चुका है। भक्ति पद महाराज बता रहे थे अमेरिका में बच्चे भी पिताजी का नाम लेके बोलते हैं, और नाम के आगे पीछे कुछ रिस्पेक्टफुल वर्ड्स नहीं लगाते हैं। तो पिताजी भी जो है नाम लेके बोलेंगे, सॉरी बच्चे भी पिताजी को नाम लेके बोलेंगे। वाइफ तो नाम लेके बोलती है नेचुरली। तो ऐसे समाज में जो है नेचुरली क्या होता है फिर, फॉल्ट फाइंडिंग बहुत होता है। तो मटेरियली भी आप देखेंगे, अगर फॉल्ट फाइंडिंग सेंटर्ड सोसाइटी है तो मटेरियली भी वो साथ में नहीं रह सकते हैं। मटेरियली भी कितना हार्मफुल है, और स्पिरिचुअली तो बहुत ज्यादा वो हार्मफुल है। तो इसलिए स्पिरिचुअली वी हैव टू ट्रेन अवर सेल्फ दैट वी आर रिस्पेक्टफुल and we see good qualities in everyone, and everyone has good qualities. We have to have a consciousness to see good qualities in them. In Udesa Amrit, Shri Goswami says that one of the quality of Mahabhagavat is Nindadi Sunyam. He is averse to finding fault in others. That means how much we are spiritually advancing can be seen by one symptom, that we are not finding fault. This is one symptom of advancement. Nindadi Sunyam. But if we are finding fault, that means to that degree we are lower in our growth of devotional service. But if we are seeing good qualities and we are seeing good qualities in connection to Krishna, then we are making spiritual advancement. Right? And this is very important. Negatively, if we think, oh, I will not find fault, I will not offend devotees, then it will not work. But positively, if we cultivate quality of seeing good in them, in our heart having a genuine appreciation for them, then fault will not happen. Then aparadh will not happen. But if in our heart we have faults and externally we are trying to avoid, it will not happen. Some situation it will come up, and then we may offend some devotee of the Lord. So that is why for us trying to see good in others, also we have to take it as our sadhana. It is not natural in a conditioned stage, but trying to see good in others, we have to take it as our sadhana and then try our best to cultivate this quality. Any devotee whom we see, first his good quality should surface. That, oh, this devotee is good in this, good in this, good in this, good in this. And naturally, in a conditioned stage, we will see some fault, but then we should not focus on the fault. We should see the fault. Okay, okay, but then main thing is his good qualities. Otherwise, unfortunately, just imagine, somebody who stays in our youth center, how much he sacrifices to come and stay. Is it not? How much it is difficult to follow four regular principles in Kali Yuga. How much difficult it is to try to chant 16 rounds. But then devotees are trying. And if we don't see that part, then how it will happen? Another important aspect why we should see good qualities in others. Krishna is very special. Krishna says, ये यथामम प्रत्यगते। आप अगर फॉल्ट देखोगे तो भगवान आप में भी फॉल्ट देखेंगे। और फिर भगवान आपका फॉल्ट देखेंगे तो फिर हरि बोल हो जाएगा. Right? If you want Krishna to not see fault and see our brighter side, if you want Krishna to forgive us, we also have to learn to forgive others. We also have to learn to see good in them. And when you see good in connection to Krishna, that is Krishna consciousness. Like that. Okay, so we'll continue this Aparadutta Anartha Lakshman next time. So we'll end now. If there are any questions or discussions, we can have.